Hey guys, welcome back to Lost Artilleros, episode 8. Thank you guys for watching all the previous episodes. I really appreciate it. I think I've got a consistent viewership now, so it's pretty cool. So I just wanted to jump straight into it today. I want to give a slight review of the Mexico versus Canada game in the Gold Cup. I just want to say straight up that I didn't actually watch the game. I was at work at the time. I followed it through, obviously, but I couldn't watch it. I have seen highlights and I've seen a bunch of people doing their own reviews, so I kind of know what happened with it. So it's not going to be super in depth because I just don't think I can do that. I just wanted to highlight some key points about the game, some of the players that were involved, and yeah, I just wanted to get into that. So the first thing I want to talk about was Andres Guardado. Um, what can I say about him? Really, he's the veteran. He's obviously, I think he would be captain no matter who was in the squad. I think that's just the caliber of player that he is. To step up and score 2 goals, especially coming on as a substitute, he didn't even have a chance to warm up apparently. So, um, super impressed with him. I think it's nice to have a veteran that's actually showed up for the Gold Cup and is leading by example. I think the first goal he scored, the screamer, the long range shot, I think it was. Um, Obviously, I'm not quite sure because I didn't watch the game, but that was a good goal though. I like the fact that he scored 2 goals. I like the fact that he's leading the team. I think that a lot of the youngsters and a lot of the players that aren't normally in the Mexican squad are benefiting from him, his presence and his experience. He's obviously a massive presence in the locker room as well. So that's good. I'm really pleased with Guardado. I think he's going to have a big tournament. I think it might be his last tournament with Mexico. I'd be I'd be pretty surprised if he's in the World Cup in 2022. Not that I don't want him now. If he's still playing the way he is now, then sure. But I just think because of his age, I think he's only going to start going downhill from here. So I'm pleased with him at the moment. Obviously, he came off for Eric Gutierrez, who got injured, unfortunately. Really gutted for him, to be honest. He's not having the greatest time at PSV, and I think this Gold Cup would have been a distraction for him, but also a, a way to improve, a way to show the PSV coach that, hey, I'm worth playing. I'm good. I'm good enough to play for PSV week in and week out. Apparently, he's injured for at least 2 weeks. He's pulled a hamstring, or he's got some kind of muscle injury, from what I've read. 2 weeks isn't too bad, but obviously in the middle of a tournament, it's not great. Whether he'll stay in Mexico squad or whether he will go back home or go back to PSV remains to be seen. But hopefully he stays and hopefully he gets to play in the later stages of the Gold Cup. But at the moment, it looks like that's a bit of a big if. So yeah, I'm really glad for him, to be honest. I was hoping that he'd have a big tournament. Yeah, he hasn't had a great tournament so far, to be honest. He's been a bit different. Obviously, the Canada game is not really relevant because he only played for about 20 minutes or so. But against Cuba, he wasn't really there. He was a bit invisible. So it's not good for Gutierrez at the moment. There's rumours of him being loaned back to Mexico, which is not great. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with him. I want to talk a little bit about Raul Jimenez. Obviously, he didn't get any goals against Canada. But from what I've read and what I've seen and what I've heard, he was integral in the attacking play. Very much the way he plays with Wolves. It's not all about goal scoring and assisting for him. It's the pre-assists, the couple of passes leading up to the goal. He's always involved in that. So yeah, I think he's doing really well. I think he's having a really good tournament. Obviously, he can score a couple more goals. I think if he does play, I'll get into the Martinique game in a minute, but if he does play against Martinique, I can see him scoring at least 2, in my opinion. Get his goal tally up a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. Edson Alvarez, what more can I say about Edson that I haven't said already? I would say the most promising player in Mexico at the moment. Um, very likely to be the next player that goes to Europe with Wolves. Raul Jimenez is Wolves involved in rumours. I really hope that happens. To be honest, it looked at first I thought, okay, well, Raul Jimenez is from America. Edson's from America. Wolves in America got this little thing because of their fans and stuff. Um, so it's like an easy 2-2 um, for the media, especially the Mexican media. Well, Jimenez is at Wolves. Maybe they'll be interested in Alvarez too. But there seems to be a bit of substance to it. A couple of people I've seen online have said that the announcement's imminent. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But it would be really cool from my perspective for Edson to go to Wolves. I think uh, Wolves' midfield, if I'm not mistaken, are quite aging now. Moutinho is in his 30s now. Um, I actually wrote an article about it for VivaLigaMX.com where I said that a season if Edson Alvarez joins Wolves, then the season with João Moutinho, because they're both kind of in the same position, they're kind of both central defensive midfielders. I don't think Alvarez will play as a centre back with Wolves, but he can play there, so his versatility is must be quite tempting for Wolves. But I think he'll be a central defensive midfielder to play alongside Moutinho for a season or two, getting his experience. There's not much better situation for Alvarez to be in. Um, Apparently, he had a really good game against Canada. He shut down quite a lot of attacks. His tackling's really good. His ball distribution as well. Apparently, from what I've read, I have read up a bit on Alvarez, and um, he seems to be a bit of like a Kante, where he can tackle and then make good passes, and he knows a good pass, and he can start attacks. So having that kind of player in your team is always beneficial. So hopefully he does join Wolves, but we'll have to wait and see. Um, and the last player I wanted to mention was Roberto Alvarado. I think he was one of the youngsters, probably the first youngster that you could think of, where he needed to step up and have this opportunity and seize it and make the most of it. I think he's doing that. He's got a couple of goals now for Mexico in the Gold Cup. Yes, I mean essentially tap-ins, but you have to be there. You have to be a part of the play to be in a position to do that. So scoring tap-ins isn't really a negative for me. Um, I think he definitely has a big future for Mexico. I think that could have a big tournament if he keeps going the way he's going. He could become almost a household name. Especially, he's already a household name for Mexican fans, but more widely known, in my opinion. I think if he scores a couple more goals, gets a couple of assists, plays most of the games, I'll be quite happy with that, to be honest. So yeah, I'm pleased with him at the moment. I'm pleased with what he's done, and hopefully he can continue to do that and seize his opportunity. I just wanted to. The last thing I really want to speak to you about Mexico is the Martinique preview. As I said in my article that's just come out with Viva Liga MX, I think that Tata Martino is going to make quite a lot of changes for this game. I think Mexico, well, they're definitely going to go through the knockouts. I think he'll be looking at Martinique and resting some players, playing some fringe players, and saving his more important players for the knockout stages. So I think players like Ochoa and Jimenez are probably going to not. I don't think they'll start. They might come on as a substitutions. Well, Jimenez might come on as a sub. But I don't think either of them will start. I think Orozco and Vega will start in their respective positions. Vega especially, I think he's already got a goal. He's done well from what he's playing. He just needs a lot. He needs more game time, is what I'm trying to say. Um, I think if he was to start a game and play 70, 80 minutes, I think that'd be good. I think he'll probably will score. I think against Martinique. I think he's vastly improved in the short time he's been at Mexico than he was at Chivas up till now. Although I'll say that it's not hard really at the moment to improve because he didn't have a great season with Chivas. He scored 3 goals against Atlas, but that was it. So hopefully Tata Martino will show the Chivas coach, look, hey, this is what Vega can do. If you play him in the right position, you play him with the right players and the right system, and you tell him what to do in a better way. This is what he can do. So if he scores a couple of goals against Martinique, I'll be really happy with that. I think we should rest Achara and Jimenez especially. Probably rotate the defence as well. I think Reyes could come out. I'll play Reyes actually because I don't think he's had a great tournament so far. So if he had a good showing against Martinique, he might give him a bit more confidence. Maybe start Moreno if he's not injured. I think he's still injured. I'm not sure. It's too many injuries to keep count, really. I think Pizarro as well. Speaking of injuries, I think he'll come back. I think he's back training now, according to Tom Marshall. So hopefully he'll come. Hopefully he'll start. I think he'll start just to get a few minutes under his belt. Make sure his injury's gone, and then sub him out maybe in the second half, and then save him for the knockout stages. But then does he take Antuna's spot? I don't think Antuna will start against Martinique, although he could, but I don't think he'll play the whole 90 minutes. I think Antuna's taking Pizarro's spot now. I think Antuna is in the first 11 now. So there's a toss-up with him whether he'll start against Martinique or not. I personally would rest him and keep him fresh for the knockouts, but you don't know what Tata's going to do. So the last thing I want to do is make a prediction for the Martinique game. I think Mexico will win it 3-0. I think they'll keep a clean sheet. And I don't think it's going to be like another Cuba where it's going to be another 7-0. I think it's going to be a little bit less because of the rotations. Some of the players that will play in that game haven't really played for Mexico yet. I think Vega will get at least one, hopefully two. So yeah, I think it should be 3-0. Comfortable, easy 3-0, in my opinion. But, Mexico are sometimes suspect in the defence. Again, obviously Canada only scored because of an Araujo mistake, but Mexico do struggle keeping clean sheets at the moment. So if Martinique score a goal, I think it would be a bit embarrassing. So my gut tells me that it's going to be 3-0. So let me know down below in the comments if you agree with that, if you think it's going to be more, if you think it's going to be less, if you think Martinique's going to get a goal or two, just let me know. And then we'll have a conversation about it. Okay, so that's all I really want to talk about Mexico. As I said, I didn't want to go too much in depth about it. I didn't watch the game, so I don't feel like I have the right to. That's just my takes on the game, my takes on the players, and my takes on the Martinique game. So, yeah, let me know if you agree or disagree. Let me know. So moving on, both the fixture lists from Arsenal and Chivas have been released now. I think I'll talk about Arsenal first because their list was released first. So just do that way. Yeah, pretty tough first couple of months, to be honest, for both Chivas and Arsenal, to be fair. Obviously, the season starts for Arsenal on the 11th of August against Newcastle away, which is not the easiest beginning. We never seem to have easy first games. Last year we had City and Chelsea, so Newcastle, it depends what happens with their financial situation. If they get new owners and then suddenly buy 2 or 3 really cool players, then it could be a bit of a struggle. It also depends on who Arsenal let go and who they bring in before then. Obviously, there's a good couple of months left until the season starts. So, yeah, it's a tough one. I don't think it's going to be easy. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a draw from that game. If it's at home, I'll be a bit more confident of us winning. But I think it's going to be tough. And it's not going to end there either. I think all the games really. The first 6 or so games are going to be tough for Arsenal. So yeah, I think we'll get a draw against Newcastle. I don't think we'll win. I think it'll be like a 1-1, 2-2, that kind of thing. Excuse me. So the game that I always look out for Arsenal is the North London derby against Spurs. And I think unfortunately, or kind of fortunately, it's both really. It's quite soon. We actually play them on the 31st of August. And we have Liverpool the week before that on the 24th. So Liverpool, I think, are going to steamroll us, I think. I'm not didn't write down whether it was home or away, but either way, I think Liverpool win that game. Probably 2-0, 2-1, something like that. I can't see us winning that game at all. So it's not really good. I think that's our third game. I think we have Burnley in between that, in between Newcastle and Liverpool. So Newcastle away, then Burnley, then Liverpool, and then we've got Spurs. So that's a really tough first month. Spurs, depends if they lose a couple of players. I don't know whether they're going to bring any players in. They don't seem to buy any players anymore. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think you can't really, as an Arsenal fan, you can't really judge yet because they haven't made any signings yet. We've let a bunch of players go, but we haven't really sold anyone yet. So I'm not sure we can make an accurate prediction on what the game is going to be. Liverpool, that's a definite loss in my opinion. Spurs go either way. You know, North London derbies are essentially cup finals for both teams. Form kind of goes out the window for both teams. So it could be an interesting. It's going to be an exciting game. Definitely, Spurs will have lots to prove, given their failures to win any trophies for the last 10 years or so, and the fact they didn't win any trophies despite finishing. I think they ended up finishing fourth. I think Chelsea picked them the third, which is quite funny. So Spurs will have lots to prove. Arsenal will have lots to prove. I think Arsenal will have a vastly different squad going into that game. But we'll have to wait and see on that. And then we also have a Watford and Aston Villa in September after the international break. And there, I think, winnable games, especially Aston Villa. I think newly promoted teams, we tend to do well against them. So I think our season's really going to start getting rolling in September. If we can get 2 wins in August, I'll be happy with that. I got a feeling that we're just going to get a win, a draw, and 2 losses. I hope we win against Spurs, but their squad's undeniably better than ours at the moment. And it just depends on who we bring in. I can't say more than that. If we'd signed a couple of really top players and a couple of kids by now, then I'd probably be a bit more confident. But at the moment, the days are going by, the weeks going by, and Arsenal haven't done anything yet, so it's starting to get a little bit twitchy. But we'll have to wait and see. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about Chivas' fixture list as well. Bit of a weird one with Chivas. They I know for a few months now they're going to have a really good really tough pre-season. They were going to play Benfica, Atletico Madrid, Roma as well. Although the Roma game's not happening now, I don't think. So apparently they're playing. Santos is the first game of the season for the Apertura on the 22nd of July. But they've got 2 friendlies. Sorry, they got 2 friendlies against Fiorentina and Benfica. Like the week before, like within 4 days, they're playing 3 games. The third being Santos, the first game of the season, and then in between Santos and their next game, which is against Tigres of all teams, they're playing Atletico Madrid. Very strange. It's going to be I think it's 5 games in 2 weeks. It's crazy. Don't know who arranged that. They've had the best part of a month off. Obviously, they started training now. They started doing friendlies and pre-season stuff. Very strange. Playing Atletico Madrid in between your first two games of the season isn't great. Very strange. I don't know whether Chivas can actually do that. Physically, I don't think the squad's big enough to do that. They're not going to have Vega either because Vega's still going to be in Gold Cup, I think, at the time. Actually, I don't know. I think the Gold Cup will be finished by then, so Vega should be. But then he might have a little bit of time off because of being in the Gold Cup. So yeah, it's very strange fixture list. Going to the fixtures themselves, I think Santos is winnable. I think Uribe will probably start that game. Probably score against his old team. Hopefully Vegas plays. I want Vega to start. I want Vega to play a lot this season. There's no excuse now to not play him. Whether you play him out wide, which I don't really personally agree with, I don't want to see him out on the left. But a front four of Uribe up front, Vega on the left, Bizraela on the right, Pulido behind him. That's awesome, in my opinion. That could be getting back into the Liga type of forward front line. So I kind of want to see that against Santos. If that happens and they click, then we should win that game, in my opinion. But you never know with Chivas. And Tigres, second game of the season, that's devastating because I think Tigres are going to be fired up this season. Yes, they've kind of gone this weird slump where they kind of don't. They won the CONCACAF Champions League, I think, last season, but they haven't really done anything in the league for a little while. And actually, did they win the Clausura? I think they won the Clausura. So, but I just think that Chivas are going to get steamrolled against Tigres in the second game of the season. What can I say about that? It's one of those things where you just know you're not going to win that game. So yeah, it's not very good. And then obviously the game that I look out for Chivas is the El Super Clasico against Club America. This season it's happening on the 29th of September, about a week after my birthday, which is awesome. Always look out for that game. I think it's still the biggest game of the season. I think the Monterrey clubs will argue that theirs is, but nah, I think it's Chivas and America. Despite Chivas' poor form the last couple of years, despite America, they've won the league a couple of times since Chivas did, but America. It could be argued that Monterrey and Tigres have overtaken America a little bit. America has got to really fight now to stay at the top of Liga MX. And I think they'll do it. I think they'll be fired up. I think Herrera will be fired up. They could make a statement against Chivas. I think at the moment, America's squad's better. If they lose Alvarez and don't adequately replace him, like they did with Lainez, in my opinion, then maybe Chivas could have a chance. If Chivas blow Santos away, say 3-0 in the first game, I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does happen, I'll be way more confident going into the Super Clasico, despite losing against Tigres in the second game. But we'll have to wait and see. And also the final game that I wanted to mention with Chivas was the Atlas game, the Guadalajara Clásico Tapatio, I think it's called. The local rivalry, basically. That's on September the 15th, just before the Club America game. Again, I think that's a relatively easy win. Atlas are, as bad as Chivas are, Atlas are worse, in my opinion. Way worse. The squad's worse. Their run of form is worse. I think both clubs will be staring relegation in the face this season. So yeah, I think the first few games of the season, I think Chivas can get a couple of wins, probably suffer a couple of losses, but hopefully the goal has to be just to get back into Liga this season. Get back into Liga, maybe have a little bit of a run in the Liga, but just get back into it. be there. That's all I want at the moment. That's the base expectation. Whether it will happen or not, I've learned to be disappointed when it comes to Chivas, as well as Arsenal, to be fair. But I think with also getting Alanis back, I think the defence is a little bit better now. Hopefully his experience in Europe has improved him a bit, and he's better now than he was when he left Chivas. We could do with that, to be honest. Hopefully we get Briseño as well from Portugal. It's a bit of a controversial one. People think they should stay in Portugal, but no. If Chivas can get him, go get him. I think we could do with a really good midfielder as well. I wanted to get Poncho Gonzalez, but I don't think that's happening now. Hopefully that happens. That'd be amazing. If we get Poncho Gonzalez and Briseño, as well as Alanis and Uribe, I think that's a really good summer transfer window for Chivas, in my opinion. It strengthens the spine with Tono Rodriguez coming in at goalkeeper as well to challenge Godinho. I think Godinho needs a challenger. I think he got a little bit too comfortable. I think he just thought he walked in to the first 11 last year, and I think that he took away some of his fight a little bit. I think that's why he had a little bit of a slump. But suddenly having Rodriguez next to him, fighting for him, he's going to be trying to improve, hopefully. So hopefully Rodriguez coming back will bring the best out of Godinho. We'll have to wait and see for that. So that's my little segment on the fixture lists. It's a bit of a short episode this week. Going as transfer wise, with Chivas, as I mentioned, they got Peralta and Alanis so far. I think they're both really good signings. The Uribe one really took everyone by surprise, took me by surprise. I'm still struggling to get used to it, to be honest. But I think the more I think about it, the more I think it's an alright deal. People say that it's going to take time away from Vega, but I think they'll both be incorporated. As I say, I think Vega will probably start the season out wide on the left with Uribe at the front. I think Uribe probably won't play a full 90 minutes for Chivas ever. So I think that if Uribe starts and plays the first 60 minutes and then goes subs off, that Vega then move in to the striker position for the last 40 minutes or so of the game. I wouldn't mind that as long as Vega plays. I don't mind. And with Vega and Uribe, with Brizuela being amazing, and Pulido as well, that front four could do bits this season. So I'm all right with Uribe now. After the shock's kind of wearing off, I'm all right with it. I think he's going to be, due to his age, but he's got really good experience. He knows what it is to win a title, and hopefully that will bleed into the locker room and the players behind the scenes, off the pitch. Hopefully improve the mentality of the squad, along with Rodriguez as well. And although Rodriguez didn't win the league with Lobos, he's got experience, and he knows what it is to win. So hopefully, and Alanis as well. Obviously, Alanis won the league with Chivas. So locker room wise, they're really good signings. Even though Rodriguez is always a Chivas player, he's just coming back from a loan. He's still almost a signing for me. Goalkeeper, central defender, and a striker. All we need now is a midfielder, in my opinion, and we've strengthened the spine of the squad. So I may be clutching at straws, but I'm pretty positive, to be honest, for Chivas. More so than Arsenal, purely for the fact that Chivas have actually done moves in the transfer window. They've actually tried to do something. Well, all three players could flop, but they could, or equally, do really well and improve the squad and get us at least back into the Liga, which has to be the base expectation this season. Get back into Liga. Don't really worry about winning it. Just get back into Liga. Become a Liga side again. That'd be great. So that was my little segment on fixtures. I hope you enjoyed it. And there's not much transfer news for Arsenal at the moment. Kieran Tierney as well is linked. Carrasco's still linked. Hirani, that central defender. whole bunch of players we're linked to, a whole bunch of players that we're on the verge of signing. We're not at the moment for some reason. So, as always, when moves are made, I'll let you know in the next episode. Before I go, I just actually want to give a few shout outs. As some of you may know, I've been following Mexican football podcasts for probably the best part of almost 5 years now. Started off with Futmexnation's The Mexican Soccer Show. They're every Monday night, but it's every Tuesday morning my time in Perth, WA. But there's a whole bunch of new podcasts that are coming out now. I just wanted to give a bit of props to them because I want them to know that I listen to them and I value them and I value their opinions. And I think the Mexican football English community, particularly online, has grown significantly, especially in the last couple of years. Started with the EagleEyePodcast. I think that they them and the Mexican Soccer Show really kick-started an interest, and I think people suddenly realised that, hey, I've got things to say, and there are people out there that might actually listen to me, and they start themselves, and I like that. I like people that do what I'm doing, which is starting something. Yes, it's a little bit daunting at first, talking, and you're opening yourself up to criticism, and but you're also opening yourself up to making friends and having people agree with you, and having conversations with people that you might not necessarily have conversations with, and they might have a different point of view than you. I might have a different point of view than anyone else, and then somebody somebody else that might have a different opinion to me, and I might think, wow, I didn't think of that. Some people might really rate a player that I might not have rated before, might not have even heard of before. So I just want to give a bit of shout outs to them, especially Tom Marshall. Obviously, Tom Marshall, everyone knows him. Futmexnation, obviously the whole crew, Amy, Weezo, also the old boys, Naib and what's his name? I forgot what his name is. Oh, that's embarrassing. But yeah, so basically, all the Futmexnation people, Carrie as well. There's a whole bunch more people that I've forgotten because my brain's just gone dead. But especially Tom. Tom's unique, I think, because he obviously he's English, but he's also he's been there for a long time. He's been in Mexico for like years, so he knows, and everyone respects him and respects what he says. And obviously, he talks to the players and coaches a lot, talks to a lot of people behind the scenes. So it's always good hearing his Gold Cup dailies. I'm obviously stay up to date for that. It's nice. It's nice to get that kind of like little peek into behind the scenes. When he's talking about something, he knows what he's on about. He knows what he's talking about, and he knows. So you kind of like get a lot of knowledge from that, and you can trust it. So yeah, shout out to Tom and everyone at Futmexnation. Awesome job. I've been following you guys for years, so keep it up. So they essentially started it, in my opinion, the whole in English side of the Mexican analysis and football, the Liga MX and ElTri and everything. They started it, I think. So props to you guys. I also want to talk about my boys, the Holy Flock podcast. I actually played a couple of times with them on Xbox Live. Don't really do it anymore because of my distance and stuff. I generate an echo, and there's this weird heartbeat thing that pops up. Very strange. It's just echoing. It's very strange. But I just want to give props out. They've just started their new podcast. I was really impressed, actually. Obviously, when you play FIFA, you're always talking about football, and you're always talking about, oh, did you watch the game last week, or blah blah blah. So it's nice, and obviously they watch the games day in day out. They play obviously online and stuff, probably in real life as well. So they know what they're talking about, and I was really impressed actually. I was like, because I didn't watch the Canada game, as I said. I listened to their podcast and a couple of others that I'll mention in a minute. They really had like I was I was just sat there listening to them, thinking, okay, I might as well have been watching the game. Their analysis and their opinions and their takes on the players and what happened here and what happened there and what this player did and what he didn't do. Um, it made me feel like I'd watched the game, which is awesome. When you can't watch a game and when you're listening to someone talk, they're very good at explaining things to you, probably way better than I am. I'm a bit of a rambler myself. But no, they explained it really well, and I hope they continue with it. I think they probably will. I think it could be big, to be honest, as big as Eagle Eye maybe. Eagle Eye is like a step above everyone else at the moment because they've been out for the longest and they've made really good moves recently. But Holy Flock can go up there. I think a whole bunch of them really. There's a massive demand now, I think, for Mexican soccer, football analysis podcasts in English now, which is awesome. As I said, it has exploded in the last couple of years. I remember in 2015, 2016, it was just Mexican soccer show. That was it. That was all I could see anyway. Now there's probably 7 or 8. There's also obviously Chivas del Norte. Massive props to them. I keep watching them, listening to them. Um, I they're the first Chivas podcast I started listening to, mainly because they're in talking English. I can understand them. I can follow them a bit more. Um, and they also gave me my first taste of being on an actual podcast. I was a guest of theirs about a month or two ago. That was awesome. I love Chivas del Norte. I really rate them. I think um, they're knowledgeable, especially with Chivas, obviously being a Chivas podcast. But you know, you can tell they're passionate for the club, and you can tell that they love talking about it. Even though Chivas is a bit of a heartbreaker at the moment and a bit of a disappointment, there's always so positive about it, especially and even Club America and the Eagle Eye podcast. Even though I'm not an American fan, I still listen to them because they know what they're talking about. And these are people that watch games day in, day out. They watch players. They have loved their clubs most of, or if not all their lives. So that brings across a bit of knowledge. And I'm all about learning, especially about Mexican football, or football in general, really. Also, there's a couple more. ElTri online and the L3 podcasts. I listen to both of them on Spotify. Really fun. They're both similar to each other, I think, but yeah, I like them. They obviously again. What I get with all of these podcasts is just imagine them sitting at home thinking, they're talking with their friends or their family and stuff, and they think, well, why not just make a podcast? Why not just talk to people? Somebody might agree with me, somebody might disagree with me, and tell me why I'm wrong. It's just there's a demand for it now. There's always going to be people listening when Mexican football is concerned. So yeah, I just wanted to give a pops out to them. I listen to you all guys throughout the week. I'm sure hundreds of people listen to you each episode. I always look out for all the views. And hopefully, if there's anyone else out there watching this that have been thinking, hey, I could talk about Mexico, I could talk about Chivas, or I could talk about America or Tigres or any league. It doesn't have to be Mexico. Even the Premier League, there's loads of Arsenal podcasts. The Guna podcast. I think there's a USA Gunas podcast out there. AFTV, obviously. There's a whole bunch of podcasts now. People, this is the next stage, I think, in being a fan of football is we've spent the last few decades or centuries talking in pubs and talking in coffee shops and in the parks. Oh, this player should play. We should get this player. This team's doing badly because of this. But now we're doing it online, where other people watching, our audience gets bigger, and especially within the Mexican Liga MX community, it's good because it shows that there's a growth, especially in the English speaking side of it. With me, my Spanish isn't great. I know some words, some phrases, but that's about it. So having it in English really helped. I wouldn't have been able to get into Chivas. I wouldn't have become a Chivas fan if it hadn't been for this Mexican soccer show or Chivas del Norte. Um, so yeah, it's just language and English really is effective, and it's good. And the last podcast I actually want to talk about is actually not football related. It's actually Sotaco. My man Gerald Flores, who shipped me out this hat. Um, him and his wife, they do a podcast. I think every week. They've recently started doing like a guest. They're doing a season of guests. I've watched them as well. It's pretty cool actually. So even though it's not football related, it's relatable. But they've both got their side businesses. They've got side things, and they're creative. And I think that relates to a football podcast in the way that you're creating something. You're um, putting something of yourself into something and putting it out there for people to witness or be a part of or listen to or buy. So yeah, I really like their podcast. I really suggest you listen to them. I listen to them on Spotify. So Taco, SEW, and then Taco. Um, he's got a really awesome taco business called Taco Gear. I'm pretty sure many of you probably already know about it. But yeah, it's really awesome. I love tacos, so to get some merchandise and things like that is really awesome. You still got my phone case as well, which is bring me a taco, just in case I ever lose this feelings, the feeling of speech. I'll always be able to order a taco. So thank you. So yeah, so I just wanted to give pops out and shout outs to all these guys. There's loads that I've missed and forgotten because my memory's not that great. But yeah, just pops up. Massive props to you guys. I value you, everyone. I think there's a lot of people out there that value all of you guys, and just keep it up. And any of you guys that are thinking about doing it, just do it. You may not explode, you may not go viral or anything, but there will always be somebody willing to listen to you and get involved. And it's awesome. It creates a bigger community, and I think going forward into the new, into the modern time, I think this is just going to be the beginning. I think podcasts are going to. I think they've already exploded, but I think they're just going to get even bigger and better. So yeah, so I've rambled on for the last 40 odd minutes. So yeah, so thank you guys. Also check out my Facebook page, LDAMan86, Football Americano. I forgot that then. And LDAMan86 on Instagram and Twitter. Especially Twitter, I'm on there quite a lot, arguing with people and making myself look like an idiot. So yeah, just fancy a laugh or fancy a conversation. Add me on them. Yeah, also check out I'm a contributor for VivaLigaMX.com. Check them out. I aim to write a couple of articles a week. Obviously, I'll try and do more, work permitting. My work rota is a little bit up and down at the moment, so but I always try at least 2 articles a week. So and also there's 2 or 3 other people on the team, so check out their articles as well. Jahir as well, he's actually a contributor, but he's actually also on the Holy Flock as well. So it's starting to interlink and intermingle, which is quite nice. The community, I mean. So yeah, just check them all out. Check out all my social media and come back next week for more. Thank you very much, guys. Adios.